What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, and as you can tell behind me, it is Thanksgiving's over. It is Christmas Eve time, so it's time to celebrate and have some fun. But you know what? Don't want to celebrate by myself, so we're gonna have my favorite co-host here, Mr. Chris Rivers here, join me all the way from his skyscraper. It looks like in Discord City, 2049.
Yeah,
How are you, sir?
traveled into the future. Good. How are you doing?
Much better than what I was after last week's episode of the podcast.
Yeah, you had a little adventure.
Yeah. So last week at the beginning of the episode, I was talking about having palpitations from the high school reunion the night prior. Decided I should go to the ER after we finished the episode because I didn't want to go sleep on it. And found out my heart rhythm was irregular and all over the place. Got admitted to the hospital that night and got discharged that Monday afternoon, evening. So everything is fine. My heart has been beating how it's supposed to for the past week. And so that, just next time, if you feel like something's wrong, you should probably get checked out.
Yeah, definitely.
We had
Definitely.
our Friendsgiving last night. We hung out for a while, watched a bunch of good football games, right up at the last minute football games. Ate a
Uh-huh.
lot of good food. Ate a lot of good food again today. I did, and I'm ready to get back into the gym. That's all I can say. I hope you're. How was
Yeah,
your Thanksgiving?
it was pretty good, man. I enjoyed last night at the Friendsgiving. That was fun. Seeing some people I hadn't seen in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it was nice and quiet on Thanksgiving itself. It was just relaxing and spending time with family and um, not having to think about work.
See, that's how it's always supposed to be, if you ask me. So, because I'm nervous to work tomorrow because we've got 4 days of patients to review and do. So
Oh
usually
yeah.
with 2 days, it's a little hectic. So I'm like, oh, okay, four. Why not? Let's just see how it's going to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
No, no biggie.
yeah, it'll just be fine. I'll be sitting here. I'll watch something on here. I might Wheel of Time, maybe. I think that's what I've got queued up to watch next since I finished It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But we'll get to there here in a minute. Quick housekeeping before we get into our 50th episode. This is not going to be a long one. We do not have a lot of news stories to talk about. We are going to talk about Hitmonkey episodes 1 through 4, Hawkeye episodes 1 and 2, and of course our movie of the week, which is Red Notice. So buckle in. It's going to be fun. It's just going to be a classic. What you come here for our reviews and thoughts on these shows and movie. But quick housekeeping before we get into all of that. Don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube and give us a good rating for podcasting apps. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, make sure you leave us a comment down below and let us know how we can improve the show. If you don't tell us how we can improve, we don't know. If you want to do more than that, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. Toss us a couple bucks that way. There's a couple different tiers you can do that way as well for all sorts of fun and goodies. But Chris, I want to know, other than our shows we're going to be talking about, this week, what else you been watching?
Not really a whole lot this week, man. Mainly Hitmonkey and Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I did check out one thing I will mention, because I found it really interesting. Is it's something I mentioned to you last night. There's a YouTube channel called The Bat Feed. They've got over, I think they've got over 30,000 subs. Um, they have a couple now documentary series that they've got up on Batman and the Batman universe. They based the first one off of a book that was written called Gotham 1919 to 1939. And I don't know, but I think this book came out of Australia.
Mm.
Um, could be wrong about that. But what it is they got models and actors to dress up as the characters from that time period. And it's basically the known mythos behind these characters, but they do change some things to make it fit the time period. Um, the channel has another series based in 1889.
Hmm.
And this is a series that's based on the fantastic DC Universe film Gotham by Gaslight.
I
So
still have
it's
not
set
seen that
during
one yet.
that time frame. And they're kind of fleshing out the characters and doing a documentary style presentation of the backgrounds of these characters and everything. It's definitely worth checking out. You can watch the full season 1 of 1919 to 1939 in one shot. It's over 2 hours.
It's not too bad.
Um, but you can also watch it bit by bit if
Yeah,
you'd rather do it that way.
that's pretty cool. I need to check that one out because that might be something I could put on while I'm sitting here working and
Yeah.
get distracted with work by. So I have I've been watching. So like I said earlier, I finished It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is convenient because the new season starts this week. Didn't think I would be able to do it, but I did. I'm really excited about it. And then the other show I've watched was Arcane, the League of Legends story that's on Netflix that everyone in the gaming universe on Twitter has been ranting and raving about. It hasn't quite hooked me yet. It's an animated show, but the animation style is really cool and really well done. It just hasn't really hooked me yet, but it is
Hmm.
it is interesting enough for me to keep watching it. But apparently, after because I just finished episode 3 last night of 9, I think I think episode 4 or 5 is like where it really picks up. There's a time jump at some point, so I think once the time jump happens is when it starts running. And everyone says it needs to be a season 2. It needs to be here now. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll check it out, and see what I think. But so far, I enjoy it. But I have now downloaded an app, Chris. I meant to mention this to you before the show, called TV Time, because I realized I watch a lot of TV, and I want to start
Hmm.
keeping track of it like I do with our movies and games that we do. And this is what this app does. So I just need to go through and,
Oh,
especially for next year, how we've been doing Letterboxd. So, trying to think. So, Hit Monkey episode 1 through 4. We got a little bit of a brief how I liked it so far last week. Chris, I want to know what you're thinking of it so far.
I um I absolutely love this show.
Told you would.
This is fantastic, and Jason Sudeikis is
Steals the
doing
show.
fantastic. Yeah, it's just amazing. Um, I wasn't sure how I would like it, especially because it's not. I guess technically the monkey talks, but you can't understand him.
Right.
It's not like he's speaking in English or anything. Um, but it's entertaining, and the fact that you have. I guess one thing that I like about it is the monkey. I mean, here's an animal from the wild that struggles more with killing
Mm-hmm.
and and has more of a code than a human being does.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
The quips from Bryce, who is Jason Sudeikis, are what get me every time. Like, he just says some of the most outlandish things, and
Yeah.
him and the monkey bantering back and forth. Again, you can't understand what Hit Monkey is saying, but the way that Bryce responds to him with things like that, the monk. I've got the spoilers tag up for the first 4 episodes of Hit Monkey, so if you haven't watched it yet and plan to, skip ahead a little bit. But the monk is what cracked me up, though. I think they started. That's how they started episode 3 or 4 with the
Yeah.
monk. 3, I think.
I think it was 3. Yeah.
They were sitting there talking to him. He goes, "Wait, you can see me?" And he says, "Yeah, it's you're on. This is your destiny. This is your path and journey." And Bryce keeps throwing that into the Hit Monkeys, like keeps throwing it into his face. He goes, "Oh no, man, this is your journey." And it's
Yeah.
just, and I really like it. Does the animation remind you of Invincible at all? With like how
A
much
little
the
bit. Yeah.
killing and like some of the
Yeah.
action scenes really reminds me of it. Of course, Olivia Munn is in this, and it's just I'm really excited for everyone to start linking up because obviously they're all going to link up because they're all on the same path a little bit with the election and Bryce being framed and all this other. Well, not really framed, but kind of backstabbed. But I'm like, yeah, I really enjoy the show, and I can't wait to watch
Yeah.
more of it. I mean, honestly, I'll probably have the series finished by the end of the week. But I mean,
Yeah,
there's only 10 episodes, so
I love how they had the when Bryce gets surrounded by the gunman, and he's sitting there in like the hot spring
yeah,
or whatever,
right,
and they're like, "Did you think you would really get away with this?" He's like, "Honestly, no. Until I found the this unbelievable monkey hotspot,
right.
and then I figured maybe." And then they shoot him, and it's like, "Oh,
Yeah, I was not expecting that because I know Jason Sudeikis was in every episode, and then they straight murdered him. I was like, well, how are they going to do this then? And then he comes back as a ghost and it ends the first episode. I said, oh, okay. This is
yeah."
gonna be fun.
Well, and you had that little brief bit after they shoot him, and you see him floating in the water,
Mm-hmm.
where he climbs out, and it's like, "Oh, they're gonna have him survive that
Right.
somehow." But
It's
no, no,
that it, it's so funny and like you were talking about earlier, the monkey has a conscience and doesn't want to kill anymore, and now he's got a
yeah,
code and he's going berserk. I mean, this is in the Marvel universe, so we're seeing the superpowers. I cannot think of the guy's name. The big sumo wrestler dude that had electricity power. They called him.
yeah, I can't remember.
They called him Slow something, but he ends up helping out Hitmonkey in the prison, and it's just like, okay, I forget we have superpowers and things like this in this universe. So I
Yeah,
don't know what universe it's in, but it's in a universe for sure,
that
and it's fun.
that was another nice little Sudeikis moment there when they're in that underground part of the prison where this fight club basically
Hmm.
is, and they start passing out candy to
Right.
everybody, and he's like, "Oh, look at this! They're all hooked on candy," and he's like, he watches them and he's like, "Oh, drugs!
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all addicted to
It goes. Yeah,
drugs."
that makes sense. I just love that kind of stupid banter like that, which will play into our movie review. So, spite little future spoilers for that one. Yeah, I really enjoy Hitmonkey. I'm really excited to watch the next 5 episodes to see, no, 6 episodes, and see how they end it. I don't know if there's been confirmation if they're doing a second season yet. I'm sure they will. There's no
Hopefully,
reason they won't. I'm sure. I just want to know what the numbers are for it, but it's exciting. I can't
yeah.
wait. But something more so, and I'm putting the spoiler tags up for Hawkeye for this one, that I'm more excited to talk about is Hawkeye. Now, we watched episode 1 and 2. We're going to review it. We are going to full blown spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, you're going to see it. Make sure you are skipping ahead to the news a bit and wait for a movie, whatever you're waiting for. Uh, I wrote down some notes for this one. I'm going to start out on this. This opening scene might be my favorite one yet with the Avengers battle. This is maybe like our fourth perspective of the Avengers New York battle from 2012 because you've
Yeah,
got
'cause
it actually happening. You've got them
Loki.
when they go back to the past to it. You've got not the chosen one, Doctor Strange's teacher. God,
Um,
I forget what they call her.
oh God,
Yeah,
why am I blanking
I'm,
on
I,
this?
I'm the exact same way. So you got that perspective when they go back in time to it, and then now you have Haley Steinfeld,
The
Kate's
ancient
character,
one.
the ancient one, and I just think it's cool how we're still using this same scene. And well, this is the fifth one because Spider-Man technically was after the battle,
Yeah.
but I just think it's really cool, and you can see the moments. Like I've got an article from Screen Rant by Craig Elvey open about Easter eggs, and a lot of it they talk about is the Battle of New York's flashback, but you see a different perspective of Hawkeye's. Like when he's falling off the building, and he turns around and shoots somebody. You see that angle. You see a couple different angles as well with him, and I think it's so cool how they can reuse footage but
Hmm.
tell a different story with it. And that really was just really stood out to me. And then with the play, the Rogers musical, which first off was written and performed by veteran Broadway stars. So those are actual Broadway stars doing a Broadway play in a TV show. And I thought that was really cool. The fact that they had Ant-Man in it, because obviously they didn't know, and how Ant-Man is now a big hero now that nobody knew about back in the day, but now
Right.
we do. Um, but what I have in my notes here, and I actually took notes for this show, was the way Glenn's grief pierces through, like at the play and during the handshake at the restaurant, and like you can see the little girl in front of him that has the Black Widow hairdo, there with the red and the braid,
Hmm. Yeah.
and the way that his PTSD is acting up with him, and he has to leave the play, and like even one of his kids is like, wow, I forget. I wish I had the line somewhere, but the kid said, "Why would they make
You
a
don't
play
have
about
to.
what?"
Oh,
Yeah, he's like,
no, I
"Why
thought
would you
you
make
were
a
talking about where
play
she's.
about this?"
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, because it's crazy to me. And I think it's really well done the way that they do that. And we'll go through like some of the Easter eggs here in a little bit on Screen Rant. But I really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun, and I really, really, really love Kate Bishop and the relationship her and Clinton Martin have. And
Yeah.
because she just has, so her whole thing was her dad died in the Avengers incident in New York, and she starts wants to be a hero to protect her mom and herself like Hawkeye did for them. And so she becomes a master karate kid, master bowsman, martial arts, and all sorts of stuff. And
Right.
she's in college, right? That's where she is when we meet her?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's already mastered all this stuff. It's a lot of fun just following her origin story, because the only thing I know her from, and knowledgeable her from, is the Avengers video game that we've played. So
Hmm.
that's the only backstory and knowledge I have of Kate Bishop. And seeing this version, seeing Haley Steinfeld with her is so much fun to watch. What did you think of the episodes?
I loved them. You've got a good mixture of action and humor, which
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of come to expect from Marvel. Um, Clint having to give up the Christmas holiday that he had
Mm-hmm.
planned to swoop in and kind of help out in the situation. Um, the Screen Rant article actually references the fact that it's very much a parallel to Die Hard.
Really?
It's this guy who is attempting to defeat the bad guys so that he can just get back to spending Christmas with his family. Um, so in that sense, yeah, it's very much a Die Hard type storyline from that perspective. Um, very good casting in this. Um, you have people that are playing douchey characters that
Mm-hmm.
are very good at playing douchey. Uh, the if we were doing the douche canoe, we would definitely have our pick.
Yeah.
Good
There's a
old
bunch to pick
Jack.
from too.
I think Jack is above all the one that's
He's one of those, like,
the
he's so
biggest.
likable, but he's clearly the bad guy. I mean,
Right.
the he does the whole line. He goes, "Oh, I've been reading How to Be a Better Stepfather book." And I was
Yeah.
cracking up at that. I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
this guy's actually trying. He's obviously the bad guy, but he's trying. So
Right.
it cracked me up.
Right. Uh, and it's so interesting for those that don't know. The swordsman is a character from the comics,
Mm.
which is essentially who this guy is. So he's probably going to be the big bad of the season. But let's talk for a minute about the fact that no conversation. First off, when the first episode starts, you get a very real sense that Kate is a daddy's girl,
Mm-hmm.
right? She doesn't have a good relationship with her mom, at least compared to her dad. She and her dad have a special bond. Um, and her mom kind of resents it. And flash forward, her mom doesn't say anything to her about even wanting to marry Jack.
Right.
And they've gone ahead while she's been off for a semester at school. They've gotten engaged, he's moved in, and she gets confronted with this with no warning, you know.
She finds out from a
And
family friend.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, the wedding. It's actually Jack's dad
Mm-hmm.
who tells her, right?"
Jack's
And he
uncle.
doesn't and he doesn't approve of her mom
Yeah.
from what he says. He's like, "Oh, well, I don't think he's making the right decision."
Right.
And he very clearly doesn't like Kate's mom. So, um, it's just I don't know. It's a very touchy storyline. Most people would have had a conversation, like driven up. Her mom owns her own security business. She could take a day
Right.
and drive up to the school and say, "Hey, this is what's going on." But she doesn't. She just lets her find out on her own. But that kind of drives a lot of what's going on with her resentment toward Jack. And I think she picks up on the fact that he is the bad guy.
Yeah.
She's
He's
obviously
clearly
seen
something up
him.
with him.
Yeah, she's obviously seen him at the auction
Mm-hmm.
where the Ronin gear comes up for auction.
I thought that was
So,
fun. And
yeah,
this watch
that
that
was really,
everybody is after, apparently.
yeah, which is, I don't know for sure what the watch does or what it entails, if it's just access to something.
Right.
The funny thing was, and we talked about it before the show, there's a tag on the watch, and it has Avengers on it, and then I guess it's a lot number. It looks like it'd probably be an auction tag. The lot number is 268.
Mm-hmm.
In Avengers 268, the big villain is Kang the Conqueror, so who we just met a variant of in Loki. So are we gonna see him pop up in this?
I
Is this just
I'm so curious to see what the end of this series does because each of
there's
our
only four
shows.
episodes left.
How many?
There's only four left.
Oh, that's right. This is one of the short ones, isn't it?
It's a 6 episode series.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Which means I'm sitting on the IMDb for the cast for the next couple episodes. Well, for the show, and there's a big spoiler here listed as number 3 at the top cast here. I'm not going to say
See,
it
now I got
because
it.
it's future spoilers. But yeah, if you want to look it up, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I really wish they didn't put that on here. Um, but yeah, it's 4 episodes. Good lord. And we see, I don't think they should have started with 2 episodes to begin with them.
Well, we know one person that we're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen Black Widow.
Well, that's the spoiler on IMDb. But I didn't think it was going to be as much as it is.
So next episode
Yeah.
we see her.
Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious. And then, so a lot of those not familiar. So the villain that they're setting up to be the big bad, I guess. Her name is Echo. And no, I'm trying to think. I don't think that's. She hasn't been introduced yet. Maya Lopez. I think that's. Let me Google it just real quick. I don't want to give false
Yeah,
information.
she was in the second episode.
Yeah, the very end of it. Yeah, so she is Echo. So she is the first, like, she's one of our new deaf heroes that we're getting, or anti-hero at first, but now she's a hero.
Alakwa Cox is the
Mm-hmm.
actress. Now,
And she's actually deaf.
oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people don't know about her. That is Kingpin's daughter, and
There's actually rumor that uh and again they do touch on this in that Screen Rant article. People should check that out. Um that Kingpin may be the next um tenant for Avengers Tower.
mm-hmm. Because they said nobody knows who bought the tower yet. Because Clint
Right.
said something about because yeah, Tony sold that several years ago, And they mentioned that in Spider-Man
Hmm.
Far From Home as well. That I mean, obviously, no, it was the first one because they were moving out of it, and nobody, we still have no idea who bought it. And Chris, that would get me so much more hype. And William, oh, I forget the guy's name who played the Kingpin. Who
Vincent
played?
D'Onofrio.
That's the one. He is very avid about wanting to come back. He says that is one of his favorite characters, and he is so ingrained in Marvel that he wants to be
Yeah,
back. And that's one of
he
his.
was perfect for that part
Oh,
too.
and I can't wait. If he really is coming back and they're putting him back in here, they would not have him in it, especially with who is rumored to be on uh, No Way Home or in No Way Home. I can't wait. I just there's so much coming. I'm really enjoying this series so far. Um, I'm more interested in this show than I was in Loki. Loki really didn't grab me as much as this show has by this point. I think Loki towards
Right.
the end really got to me.
It grew
Um,
on you.
but this one's a lot of fun, and the way that Clint interacts with his family and Kate Bishop and everyone around him is phenomenal. Like even the whole little because he's not. A lot of people have been talking about this on Twitter, like making so many articles. Like he is not a character that's used to being in the limelight. He was a covert op. He was a spy, and now everyone
Hmm.
knows about him. Everyone knows about Black Widow, and they're idolizing him, and he is not used to it. Like the whole interaction with the handshake at the table where he got his meal paid for, and like he looked at the hand, you could clearly like I mean, there's so many ways you could think about him thinking about. To me though, it was him holding on to Nat when she was falling off the cliff on for the
Yeah.
Soul Stone. And that's how I looked at it as. But some people say like it's you took a look as he's not used to being in the limelight, et cetera, et cetera. Whoever knows, I mean, I'm sure the director and writer knows, but he's not used to it. He's not treating Kate Bishop as like a love interest or anything like that. His wife knows anything and everything that's going on. Like when he called her when they were making gingerbread houses and they were code speaking to each other about the situation, I thought that was so cool. If like it's not this whole thing of oh I'm hiding things from my wife. It's like no, she's as much as the team. She's as much as Hawkeye as he is, and I
Yeah.
absolutely loved that. And I can't wait to see what's coming up, especially with that spoiler that we both just saw for the next several episodes. And I'm here for it. I can't wait for more episodes, and we don't have to
Well,
wait too much longer for Wednesday. So
right. Also, the fact that um, with everything that the world's found out to this point, no
mm-hmm.
one knows who Ronan was.
You're right, and that's a whole big
So,
plot piece. They're like, oh, he's disappeared, and now he's just randomly back. So
yeah. But what, real quick before we move on, because this is probably going to be one of those scenes that you either got a kick out of or you completely hated. What did you think about the LARPing?
Oh, I thought it was fun, and it showed like a lot of people said he could easily just knock this guy out and taken his suit back. But I think that's the whole point of Clint Barton as a character. He is a total
Uh-huh.
down to earth guy, and does does not he knows what needs to be done, but he's also lost so much. I mean, he lost his best friend, and when he was one going to sacrifice himself, like he's got this battle between himself between Ronan and Hawkeye because the Ronan character he's got so much blood on his ledger now, like Nat used
Right.
to say. But I loved it. I thought it was so much fun, and I think it shows how much he realizes he means to people. Forgiving Grills was the character's name. He said, "I just need to win this. This is so much for me," and he lets him win, and they have that conversation, knows his name, and talks to him. Everything. I thought it was so cool, and I thought it
Yeah.
was fun.
It was. It was a nice little scene. I thought it was cool too how they showed him. He, it's very obvious how easy it is for him when he's in these combat situations in the
Mm-hmm.
LARPing, because he's just like he effortlessly is making a move to like
Right,
block a,
with a
and it's
foam
just like
sword.
really, yeah. He's like, okay, yeah. Uh, Clearly he is way more advanced than these folks,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going through the motions because he just wants the suit.
Right.
Because the longer someone wears it, the more likely someone sees them, and then they become a target.
Because he killed a lot of people with that suit on.
Yeah,
Between
yeah,
Infinity War and Endgame, he killed a lot of people in those 5 years. So,
yeah.
trying to find what's going on. And one more thing before we get off on it, the toilet seat when he was sitting there peeing and it said Thanos was right, I thought it was the funniest thing because that's only been a thing with our internet. Like, there's
Right.
even a whole subreddit that said Thanos did nothing wrong. And I thought it was so cool. And then, of course, his trauma looking down at it and just his PTSD. I thought it was, like they have did such a good job with this show. I am so excited. I hate that it's only 6 episodes. That might have ruined my night.
Yeah,
But it just means we're going to get a great show for the rest of it. You know what I mean? And
yeah. There's going to be no filler with
right,
this show.
that's what I love. That's what I always do. But I mean, it's you've got these big A-list celebrities in this show, so I mean, it's
And we can't forget about Lucky.
oh, Lucky the dog, the one-eyed dog we haven't hardly even talked about, which is the Hawkeyes is someone I guess you say sidekick or buddy or whatever you want to call it, but it's just a one-eyed golden lab, and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait until they.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
I
so much to talk about with this show.
I mentioned it to you before we started recording, but I don't know if they're going to do anything with it or not. But it's odd that, we see Clint with the hearing aid in his
Mm,
left ear from his hearing loss, which is different from that of the comics.
right.
Um, and then Lucky's eye that's gone is his left eye. So I thought it was odd that it was both on the left
Mm.
side. Maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't, but
Chris, don't be spoiling things. You know it means something.
I don't know.
You were consulted on this show.
I wish. My
Let,
bank account wishes.
right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know down below what you thought of the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Because we definitely enjoyed it. And I seriously can't wait for Wednesday just to watch the newest episode. But before then, we've got more things to talk about. We only have one news story again for TV, and this one is Netflix is developing a Power Rangers cinematic universe with multiple series and movies. I'm going to comicbook.com by Cameron Bonamalu. Entertainment One's Power Rangers are going to Netflix. After Hasbro subsidiary E1 set Jonathan and Twistle, the end of the effing world, I am not okay with this, to shepherd a Power Rangers cinematic universe of connected film and television adaptations. And Twistle confirms
What?
Hasbro's PRCU, I guess is what they're calling it, is coming to Netflix. Deadline broke the news Netflix will be home of E1's television planned Power Rangers expansion of, quote, multiple series and movies, including in Twistle's already announced 1990s set feature film reboot, previously set up at Paramount Pictures. Quote, since we set up Power Rangers with Jonathan, we pitched a whole world approach, Michael Lombardo, E1 Presidents of Global Television, told Deadline. It's not just one show, it is shows followed by films, some kids programming. We have found a great writing partner for him, and they are off. Knock on wood, Netflix is excited, and we're excited. We hope to have some big news soon. I'm here for it. So, I mean, Power Rangers is a big part of my youth, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, especially with Netflix's funding.
Yeah. I mean, Power Rangers kind of fell in that time for me where I was just old enough I really wasn't interested in it,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of eh.
It's
But
the movie they had come out. I forget how many years ago now, 2018 maybe, was was good. It wasn't great, but wasn't bad. It was just good. And did we review that one for this show? I don't remember if
I
we
don't
were doing
think
it at
so.
that time. But
I don't think
it
so.
was darker but it was okay. So I'm gonna have to rewatch it again once this universe, the PRCU, starts evolving.
The only thing I knew about Power Rangers back in the day was Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And, that's yeah, me too. Releases this week, Wednesday, December 1st. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Season 15 kicks off, and I'm excited for it. So I can't wait.
word. All right. Movies. Movies. Have you watched anything
I
outside
did.
outside of our
As I'm doing my Spider-Man rewatch, I'll have Spider-Man Homecoming this week coming up. But this past week I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, last week I talked about
Mm.
Amazing Spider-Man, of how much I realized I enjoyed that movie, et cetera, et cetera. This movie took the same steps. Some things were bad, some things were great.
Mm.
Green Goblin, bad in this movie. Electro, okay to an extent. I'm excited to see the MCU's Electro, although it's kind of the same one. I don't really know. Um, but it was a good movie. I wish we had more because what they were setting up with their Sinister Six, I really wanted to see. And the ending scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the Rhino and the little kid gives me chills and makes me so excited every time I watch it. And it did happen again, and I can't wait for more. I really can't wait to see Andrew Garfield and No Way Home. We all know he's going to be there,
Now
Chris.
you you mentioned you mentioned Rhino,
Hmm.
and it brings up the point we know of five villains. Who is it Rhino?
I don't think so.
Is it
I don't think he's big enough for people to care about for this movie.
it
Um,
probably depend on who played him.
yeah, if it's the same, I forget the actor's name. Remember his character's name, Alexi, but I don't forget the guy's name. But it wasn't that memorable in the movie. I'm very curious if our sixth man is Venom, based on the things we saw in Venom 2. So
Mm,
I'm very curious to see, because I don't want to go into too many spoilers because of, I mean, it's been out for what, 2 months now, give or take. But I, th- I don't know, but I'm very curious to see what the number six is. Because are they going to use Doc Ock as number six, or are they just stringing us along that he's friendly in the trailers? Again, Marvel does things like that, so they string us along.
well, he's one of the five, right?
Oh, yes, he is. Never mind. So who is number six? That's a good question.
And if he's not part of the Sinister Six, who are the other
Right.
two? That means they would need to give us two more.
Yeah.
Uh, which Vulture would be an easy one.
Yeah. That's if Vulture and maybe even Morbius. I don't think they'll put Morbius in there before his film and before anyone knows about him. But then again, it's one of the same things. No Way Home gets delayed, so does Morbius. So who knows what the relationship is there?
Yeah,
Well, that's
be
it. That's all I've
interesting.
watched. No, I watched the 2018 The Grinch as well, but
Oh yeah,
nothing crazy to talk about.
right. We got to start putting our Christmas slate
Mm-hmm.
together. Wow,
Always
I
just
didn't
runs up to you.
I didn't think about that when we picked next
This
week's
was
movie.
movie. Center adding things in a letterbox now.
Um, so our movie review for this week, 'cause I didn't watch anything else either. Um, this week was Red Notice, starring Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, and Dwayne Johnson. Um, this movie, this is a brand new release, correct?
Yes,
So,
this
so
year.
we'll try and be a little bit vague on some things, just in case people haven't watched it yet. This is, I'm always a sucker for a film, um, just like with Indiana Jones, just like with the National Treasure movies, where they're going after some sort of historical artifact.
I am in the exact same boat.
And it's fun, even though in this case it's kind of a MacGuffin. You know, they're using it as the item that drives the story forward, but the story's not really about that. It's about the journey that the characters are taking. Um, and I have to be honest, I turned my brain off when I watched this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not literally, because I'd be dead, but I didn't try and think ahead of it. I just watched it and I enjoyed it. And so when the twist came,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was very surprised, but at the same time, I was like, oh, that
I
makes sense.
I knew there had to be a twist in this movie. I did not see it like at
Yeah.
all. I was like, huh, okay, because I had no idea that that was it. And I'm
Yeah.
glad the way they did it. It was a very fun movie. I'm with you. I love like National Treasure or Indiana Jones, the searching for ancient artifacts kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
and as in every single one of those, it's somehow twisted to the Nazis. Everything is intertwined with
Yeah.
the Nazis somehow, some way.
Well, and I think the reason being, but though, because in real life, uh, they were trying to swipe everything that was relevant
Hmm.
historically like this. They were trying to put it all into a storage. They wanted it.
Right.
Um, so it's like there's a lot of stuff that passed through their hands before it was recovered.
It it was so fun. I love all three of our main actors here. The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. So I want to know how much of this movie was improvised by Ryan Reynolds. Just his quick quips are so good and just so funny. There's no way that at least half of them were not improv. And the
Hmm.
whole prison scene, I laughed so hard. Um, the majority of his lines were so fun, and even the little product placement of aviation gin in his little
Uh-huh.
safe house, I thought it was funny. Um, and just the way that they talk to each other. Like I want another one, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna Google here.
Yeah, the prison scene where he's telling him, "Look, whatever you do," he's talking to the Rock's character, who is where yeah, the Rock's character is a profiler
For the
for
FBI.
the FBI, and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't tell him that you're a cop." And he's like, "Would you be quiet?" And he then he stands up and he's like, "Hey, I just want everybody to know this man is not a cop,
Yeah, he says
okay?
it in
Not a
Russian.
cop." Yeah. He's like, he's a profiler for the FBI, which is kind of a cop, but he's not a cop.
It's so funny, man. Oh,
So the for those we kind of danced around the basics of the story here. So the basic of the story is, was it Caesar or Alexander the Great?
Alexander the
The
Great.
Alexander the Great gifted these three eggs to Cleopatra, and the first two they know where they are, but the third one is MIA. No one knows where it's at. And the reason they're looking for it is because this very wealthy individual, I don't know if he's on the up and up or not, but his daughter's getting married and he wants to give her the complete set of Cleopatra's eggs
Mm-hmm.
as a wedding gift. And he's giving, what was it, $300 million
300 million for the complete
if
set.
any for the complete set. And so it's all about them trying to get, so Ryan Reynolds' character is trying to get these eggs. Gal Gadot's character, who's known as the Bishop, is trying to get these eggs, and The Rock is a FBI profiler who is trying to uh, stop both of them, really.
Mm-hmm.
And hijinks ensue from there. But they end up in all kinds of situations. I kind of had flashbacks briefly with the prison scene because when they're trying to get out of there, I was flashing back to Black Widow,
Mm-hmm. With
where
the
they're
snow and everything. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, it's a fun movie. If I don't know if you're trying to overthink it, maybe it's not as fun. If you just go in like I just need a couple
A
hours, I
fun
don't even
action
think it's
movie.
that long. Yeah, it's probably like an hour and 40,
It's
something like
a
that.
hour and 58.
Oh, so 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you just want 2 hours of entertainment, it's a good choice. It really is. Some good performances. Did you? I don't know if you just said, because I was thinking about what I was going to say. Did you see a sequel in the works?
As of a day ago, there is no sequel in the works yet. Critically, it didn't do
Oh,
that well, apparently, but
well, the
everybody else
critics don't
loves
know
it.
what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm like, I really enjoyed this movie, and it looks like the majority of everyone else did, but there's no sequel in the works yet. But
They'll
Netflix
make
is, and The Rock is promoting a bunch of things, saying, it's Netflix's biggest movie almost ever, and it's on par with Endgame and stuff like that as far as views and watch time, things like that. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah.
very vocal on his Instagram of how well the movie is doing, and it sure is. So,
That's the thing. You can't listen to the critics.
mm,
Number one, there's not enough of them
right,
to make a difference in a movie's success or not. If the public loves it, they'll make another one.
yeah,
They will.
Venom too.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I should probably rate that, huh?
Yeah,
I give.
mine is an A minus. I give it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I think mine's 4.
I think I told you last night if I hadn't watched Dune this year, I think it would have been my movie of the year so far. That's how much I loved
Really.
it. Yeah.
Above like Black Widow and Shang-Chi and
Yeah. That's how much I enjoyed it. It's just,
wow.
I don't know if it hit me right when I needed that serotonin boost or what, but I really enjoyed it, and I'll probably watch it again at some point in my life. It's one of those I'll watch again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, for next week, folks, we had planned to do Free Guy. Do you want to change that, or do you want to do 2 movies?
Uh, I'm
Free
okay.
Guy and a holiday flick.
Looking at the schedule, I'm okay with doing Free Guy. Wait, let me pull the full thing up here. Because it'd be one, two, three. Let's potentially double up on it. Because if we did Free Guy this week, that only gives us 3 more weeks for Christmas movies.
Okay.
So let's potentially double up. And Free Guy be our, if you can watch it, but the Christmas movie be the first one we watch.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Gotcha. You got a pick?
There is a new Netflix movie out.
Not to put you on the spot,
But
but you
it's
got a pick.
exactly what it is. It's a new Netflix movie that came out this past month. A Boy Called Christmas.
A
Determined young
Boy
Nicholas
Called
meets his
Christmas.
destiny in a magical land inhabited by elves. And where'd it go?
So it's the origin of Santa Claus.
Yep. So,
I'm in.
yep. Hour and 46 came out this year.
Who's in it?
Well, now you're gonna make me Google that too.
I thought you had it pulled up. That's why
I had it pulled up on Netflix. Henry Lawful, Toby Jones, Sally Hawkins, and more. I'm pulling up the official IMDb because that doesn't count. Kristen Wiig,
okay.
Maggie Smith, who is Harry Potter. Here's some good ones in here.
Cool.
Michael Huseman. Yeah.
A
Boy Called
Boy
Christmas.
Called Christmas. And Free Guy if we can get there.
Yep.
I'm going to try and get there because I want to see that movie.
I do too.
All right. In movie news, just one item.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a quickie. As you all can tell, we didn't really do anything special for show number 50.
Yeah. Now, I mean, 100's a big deal. So once we hit that one, there'll be I'll have balloons
Well,
and
52 is a big deal too because that means we've done one for every week of the year.
oh, that's a good call. Have we
Yeah.
not already done one for every week of the year? I guess there's some weeks we skipped, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know.
John Krasinski will be the voice of Superman in DC League of Super Pets. This is going to be a fun movie.
Yes, it will.
This comes from Collider and Eric Masoto. And it says, well, the cat's out of the bag, or better yet, the dog is. This morning, the Office alum and A Quiet Place director John Krasinski shared an image on Twitter to reveal he's the one voicing Superman in the upcoming DC League of Super Pets animated movie. Krasinski will be Crypto's best friend, with the dog being voiced by some guy named Dwayne Johnson.
Never heard of him.
We haven't talked about him at all. As the name suggests, the film will follow a group of superpowered animals, many of them linked to some of DC's greatest superheroes, as they stop global threats.
I'm excited.
Um, Other actors voicing characters are Keanu Reeves. Again, I
Never heard
think
of
I've
him.
heard of him. Diego Luna, Natasha Lyonne, Kate McKinnon, and Vanessa Bayer. Aside from them, Kevin Hart will be playing Ace the Bat Hound, and Mark Marone is set to voice Superman's biggest enemy, Lex Luthor.
They've got a lot of good names on this movie.
Yeah,
I think they're
yeah.
aiming for
I'm
fun for the parents as well as the kids for this.
well. I mean, Kevin Hart, Natasha Lyonne, Kate McKinnon, Keanu Reeves, John Krasinski, Dwayne Johnson. Like,
Mm-hmm. Come on, son.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a good one. Gonna be a good one. Uh, no releases this week,
Yeah.
but it was Thanksgiving week, so you should have been hanging out with family, watching football and a couple of movies at home.
Mm-hmm. Or if there's any movies already out, Eternals,
Yeah, yeah.
Dune, I think it's
Eternals.
still out. So, video games, no news at all. But Chris, have you played anything fun? Have you played any more? Tell me why, anything like that?
Yeah, I played a little bit more of it. I'm still working my way through there.
Yeah,
Uh, I need to I need to take an afternoon and just play that one first.
I've got it
It's not a
downloaded. I just need to
long
play
game.
it.
Yeah, it's not a long game from what I understand. I think it's something like I think I heard it was like 5 hours of gameplay
It's not bad.
to get through it. But it's just I always try and work it in at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes I lose track of time, and I'm like, "Ah, I don't have time."
I'm
So
the I'm the same way. Like, I've got I think it's 2 weeks. No, maybe a week. Yeah, I think it's a week from this week. Is Destiny's 30th anniversary, and I haven't played Destiny in 2 or 3 weeks now. So I've been playing like I played Halo, I've been playing Skyrim, and Forza. But I mean, other than those three, of course, being in the hospital and Thanksgiving, I haven't done a whole bunch of video game playing.
right,
So when Destiny comes back, I need to get some of these backlogs done. I don't know what the 30th anniversary is going to look like for Destiny. So I don't know how much time it's going to take away before February when everything else comes out next year.
uh-huh,
But tell me why I want to try and beat it before the end of this year so I can get
yeah,
that out of my backlog.
yeah. And I've got what else do I have? I downloaded Empire of Sin
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, and then since then I've added um, oh, what was the one from earlier this year? I think it was earlier, the Forgotten City.
That sounds familiar. See, that's like the good
I
app,
heard of
Chris, is the GG app, is what's called. I'm pulling it up on screen now.
where you can keep track of what you
Yeah.
have.
So like you,
Oh,
so
I
here,
I need
yeah,
that.
it's Letterbox for video games is what it's called. So I mean, here's mine. If it will, the screen will focus on it. But like these boxes, you've got want to play, playing, shelves, completed, or abandoned. Like you'll never play again. And so I've got my 7 games I'm playing right now, and you
Yeah,
can you can review them. You can do all sorts of stuff. Add friends, just like Letterboxd. It's way too much
that's
fun.
cool.
I highly recommend it to anybody that wants to keep track of all their stuff like I do.
I'm downloading it.
So you'll have to tell me your name later on there, and I'll have to add you because it's I use it all the time, and that's how like I've got a list on there. If it's called games I've played in 2021, and it's I don't care if I've played it for 5 minutes and hated it and uninstalled the game, or if I've been playing it daily, it goes into that list, so I can see what I played, and especially like when we do our game of the year or of the year show.
Uh-huh.
I can clearly see what I've been playing. Like, oh yeah, they did come out this year, and I played it and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, nothing crazy this week playing wise. I played a little bit more Pokemon, but nothing as much as I should be. Hopefully this week I get back to normalcy. I've got to put Christmas lights outside, so it's going to take away some of my nights. But other than that, everything should fall back into place, especially for a week from this coming up Thursday is the Video Game Awards. So
Oh
and
yeah.
get that night off. I might sit here and wear a suit or something, just act like I'm there.
Or as you say, the Vision Game
The
Awards.
Vision Game Awards. Notable new releases this week: Fall Guys Season 6 for PC and PS4 comes out November 30th, and Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy Volume 3 for the PlayStations come out December 3rd. But guys, that has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide podcast. We had some fun Hawkeye news. Thanksgiving is now over. It's time to get into the Christmas spirit. We hope you all enjoyed, had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this podcast. We cannot wait to come at you next week with it. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow the Nerdwide account on Facebook and at Facebook at nerdwide.com. Twitter is at nerd_wide. You can follow me on Twitter at Ty_Haynes. And you can follow Chris at MavTN7. But guys, thank you so much for watching it. Make sure you're staying safe out there and being good people. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.